Thank you for joining us on NTV this Easter Monday. Here's what we've lined up for you.
Tonight, attention on roads after road racing turns tragic and casualties become fatalities.
And medics on tea break who watched a helpless patient deliver arrested as probe commences.
The hospital will be given 30 days to comply, failure to which then the board will be forced to withdraw its license.
In our Easter Monday special, scarred and orphaned by war and thrust into parental roles.
They are abusing me that I'm wasting my time going to school instead of me to get married so that I will get someone who will take care of me and my brothers.
Life for young refugees at Kalobeye settlement camp in Turkana.
Also tonight, Peter Mbogwa remarries 8 years after the death of his wife Wamboi Otieno.
Imekuwa tu nzuri kama hiyo ingine. Najihisi tu venye nilisikia hiyo ingine.
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
Well, thank you for joining us. For most of you who've been enjoying your Easter holiday, welcome back to the normal life. It's work as usual for us. And for those who are still settling in, it's going to be a very, very short week. But nonetheless, thank you for joining us. Our sign language presenter tonight is David Agundoa. And David, how was your Easter? I assume you said it was good. It was good. Well, we start on a rather sad note where police have confirmed that 3 Kenyans were among those killed in yesterday's accident along the Namanga-Arusha highway. They were a part of a group that had traveled to Arusha for a racing event dubbed the Arusha Drive 3.
Police spokesman Charles Owino says their bodies have been airlifted to Nairobi and their families notified. And as NTV's Seth Olale reports, authorities in Kenya and Tanzania have, however, dismissed claims that the vehicles involved in the crash were racing at the time.
The blood-curdling accident which left 3 Kenyans dead and scores critically injured was captured by an eyewitness on mobile phone. The driver of this vehicle, as seen in this video, was trying to overtake moments before it smashed into another vehicle. The accident that occurred at the Oldono Sambu, 25 kilometers from Arusha town in Tanzania, took the lives of Onesmus Mashira Mwangi, Robin Alan Njiru, and Lynette Mutio Kamau. Their bodies were airlifted to Nairobi from Arusha.
Injured person was still being stabilized by the doctors and is in the process of being transferred to Nairobi for treatment, further treatment in Nairobi. The next of kin of the deceased persons have been informed.
The late Robin Alan Njiru was Kirinyaga County Women Representative Purity Ngerichi's nephew. She described him as a bubbly gentleman with great dreams for his future. Onesmus Machira Mwangi was a spectator at the racing event in Arusha and was caught up in the crash. Arusha Police Commander Jonathan Shana says Tanzanian nationals were also among the casualties. Several others have been admitted in critical condition at Selian Lutheran near Arusha town. Earlier reports had indicated that at least 8 people had died in the accident. The organizers of the event and Arusha Police Commander Jonathan Shana have dismissed reports that the vehicles involved in the accident were racing at the time.
I don't want to comment on the activity that took place in Tanzania. I may not have the actual facts, but I just wish to clarify so that Kenyans would know that we unfortunately lost 3 of us in that accident, but 1 survived, so that they get the actual numbers that we lost yesterday. But the details of the accident I may not be able to give.
The event, dubbed the Arusha Drive 3, had attracted racers from both Kenya and Tanzania and was to take place between 19th and 21st of April. It had been advertised under the tagline, "The roads will never be the same again." Seth Olale, NTV.
And in another incident, 2 people died and 7 were injured in a head-on collision between 2 private cars last night along the Meru-Nairobi highway. The accident took place near Kajiundudhi High School in Tharaka Nithi County.
Mara OCPD Johnston Kabusia said the injured are currently receiving treatment at the Chogoria PCEA Mission Hospital. 2 of them are in critical condition. He says the driver of a vehicle driving from Meru town to Chuka, with 5 people on board, lost control and collided head-on with another that had 4 passengers.
2 people have been arrested at the Athi River Shalom Hospital after preliminary investigations revealed that some attendants at the hospital did not have requisite accreditation.
The 2, Edna Nyarangi, a nurse, and the hospital's administrator, were arrested after a video of a lady giving birth on the floor went viral, prompting the county's medical boards into action. The hospital has 30 days to comply with recommendations made by the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board or risk closure.
A video that went viral of a lady giving birth on the floor of Athi River Shalom Hospital elicited heated debate and reactions among Kenyans. Early Monday, officials from the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Board, accompanied by officials from the Machakos County Government, conducted an impromptu inspection at the hospital. Preliminary investigations by the board showed that some of the workers did not have the right skills for the designated positions, while others did not have some required licenses.
There is a bit of laxity on handling the staff from the outset when it comes to their employment and orientation to work within the institution, both within the hospital and in the various departments which they serve. And there's also inappropriate deployment of staff within key departments without appropriate mix of experience. And therefore, there is then inadequate supervision for those who may not be well experienced to practice on their own.
Edna Nyarangi, who was captured nonchalantly taking tea in the video, did not have a permit from the nurses board nor any other authorizing body. She was arrested. The hospital's administrator is also to answer to charges of employing unqualified or unlicensed medics.
What the team before you is going to do is that it's going to hold a clinical audit to be able to fully establish the extent of the gaps within the institution, to be able to advise appropriately. The hospital is strongly reprimanded for the incident that happened. In addition, the clinical audit will make recommendations for which the hospital will be given 30 days to comply, failure to which then the board will be forced to withdraw its license.
We are also going to take measures asking the DCI to investigate not only the workers but also the owners of these institutions and the owners of Shalom Hospital, so that we see whether there is any charge you can bring upon them for criminal negligence, because at the end of the day the buck stops with the owners.
The board said the lady shown in the video is doing well together with her newborn baby. On its part, the hospital's management regrets the incident and vows to assist officials in the ongoing investigations. In a statement to NTV, the hospital confirms today's events and wishes to notify the public that it will work closely with the board to comply with its recommendations. Kennedy Muredi, NTV.
Police and the Nakuru Fire Brigade this morning pulled out the decomposing body of an unidentified man out of the Menengai crater. The man is said to have slipped and fell into the crater while on a hike. Residents in the area were drawn to the tourist site by a foul smell. Authorities say his body was trapped in the branches of the trees in the crater.
It took them 3 days to retrieve the body due to the complicated terrain and the crater's steep slopes. This grim finding is only the latest, as many thrill seekers have slipped into the mysterious depths of the crater. Small notices and signs placed in specific areas caution tourists against going beyond certain points.
A face-off looms between the Ministry of Education and the Kenya National Union of Teachers over the implementation of the new competency-based curriculum. NAT has asked its members to boycott the 4-day capacity building training for teachers that starts tomorrow at the Uhuru Gardens Primary School in Lang'ata.
NAT says the competency-based program and its implementation was done in violation of the law. The teachers further say that they are ill-prepared to implement it. Education CS Professor George Magoha, however, says the train has already left the station and there will be no turning back on the new curriculum. The Barclays Bank has been fighting fires recently, and today it was battling a literal one in its Murang'a branch this afternoon. The fire incident is said to have been sparked by an electrical fault in one of the air conditioning machines. In a statement, the bank confirmed the incident but ruled out any foul play.
No one was injured as the bank had been closed for the Easter holidays. The county fire department also contained it before it could spread to other areas. This incident comes just less than 24 hours after robbers stole more than 11 million shillings from 4 of the bank's ATM machines in the capital.
The fire started from a server room. Immediately the fire was noticed. Murang'a Fire Brigade were alerted. They responded immediately and the fire was put off. So far, we are not suspecting any foul play.
Police in Mombasa are holding 2 suspects for trafficking bang. Cynthia Cheng and Frederick Ogutu were arrested at a police roadblock in Shanzu during a crackdown.
Elsewhere, police have arrested a security guard for allegedly colluding with robbers to steal from a house in Kizingo. NTV's Kevin Mutai has the updates from the coast.
There was drama at Central Police Station in Mombasa after police arrested a suspect, Cynthia Acheng, and her accomplice Frederick Ogutu for allegedly ferrying 1,700 rolls of bang. Acheng, who avoided the glare of the cameras at one moment, feigned illness moments before she was picked up and locked in police cells. The suspects were arrested in Shanzu at a police roadblock by officers conducting a crackdown on drug traffickers.
Mombasa shall never be allowed and will not be a transit point for anybody who is involved in that illegal business.
Police say the suspects transported the bang from Migori and was destined for the markets in Mombasa, Kwale and Kilifi. Police say the suspects had evaded previous police operations. Cynthia Acheng had been arrested in 2018 over drug trafficking and released on bond. Elsewhere, police are also searching for 2 suspects who broke into a home in Kizingo and stole money and household items. Police say the suspects could have colluded with a security guard to break into the home while the owner had traveled for the Easter holidays. The security guard was also arrested.
Ndani ya nyumba waliweza kubeba sanduku la kuweka pesa. Ndani ya sanduku ilikuwa na shilingi 1,170 na waliweza kubeba vitu vingine vya nyumba.
Police recovered cash, other household items and the vehicle it is believed the suspects used. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
President Uhuru Kenyatta today visited retired President Daniel Arap Moi at his home in Kabarak to personally convey his condolences following the death of his eldest son, Jonathan. State House described it as a private meeting. The president signed the condolence book and also interacted with KANU leaders who were also present, led by their party leader, Gideon Moi.
Jonathan, who was popularly known as JT, passed away at the Medihill Hospital in Nakuru on Saturday morning after a battle with cancer. He was due to be flown out of the country for specialized treatment. In his tribute, President Kenyatta described the late Jonathan as a man of his word.
On that light note, we take a short break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us. Now to news making headlines in Uganda. Chadondo East MP Robert Chagulanyi, known as Bobi Wine, was arrested yet again, and his concert cancelled for what authorities said was a failure to meet security regulations.
Police blocked him from accessing One Love Beach, the venue of the planned Easter concert. The MP, however, says he will not be intimidated into silence.
Bobi Wine left his home in Magere along Gayaza Road in Wakiso district this morning, headed to the One Love Beach in Busabala, where he planned to stage his Charenga Extra Easter concert. Several people joined the singer on his way. However, the trip was cut short a few meters away from the venue. Police fired tear gas to disperse the rowdy crowd. Attempts were made to tow away the car in which Bobi Wine and his colleague MP Francis Zake and others sat. A back window was smashed open. Police opened the door and pulled them out before they were bundled into a van.
We are breaking my hand.
That's what I can bring. The MPs were driven to Chagulanyi's home in Magere. Bobi Wine told the press that police is acting outside the law.
Today, we got information that yes, these people are still mobilizing. They are still advertising that their show is going to take place. Despite our earlier warning and letters that were issued to them, they insisted that the show is going to take place. So we had to deploy.
He has said he will petition the police over his intentions for a peaceful demonstration against the violation of his rights.
We are invoking Article 29 of the Constitution, which guarantees every citizen the right to assemble and demonstrate. We are going to do this peacefully and unarmed. And yes, I am serious. Yes.
Ali Mivole, NTV.
Well, it appears they later let him go.
Well, they did, but you'd assume if he never gave them enough notice and to ensure there's enough security, they were there in the droves. Those are too many police officers. But he says he will not be intimidated. Trust me, this is going to take a long, long, long time. From Uganda and back to Kenya. For children scarred by war, it is a daily struggle to bear the most staggering cost of conflict. It is a rude thrust into adulthood for orphaned children forced to take up responsibilities of caring for their siblings.
Such young family heads are quite common in the refugee camps. NTV's Sharon Baranga spent a day with Margaret Imoli, who found herself in such an arrangement at the Kalobeye settlement camp in Turkana County.
At the tender age of 16, Margaret Imoli found herself in a foreign land, running away from a raging war with 5 of her siblings. It was a cruel jolt to adulthood, having taken on the oversized responsibility of head of the family.
The war broke while we were in school and my mom is at home. People are running. When we came back from school, we got our mother was not around, and we don't know where she was. Until today, we have not even heard her voice. So we went home and we got our home is empty. We went to the church, to a priest called Father Noel, and the priest brought us from South Sudan until to the border of Kenya. And we have been registered by UNHCR.
For 2 years, Imoli was the fire against the cold nights, the shield that kept them from harm. And while they have so far remained safe from harm, the memories of the horrors they left behind still haunt them. They live in constant fear of attacks and threats of violence from the lewd camp dwellers. Early mornings are a part of her everyday routine before she leaves their tent at the Kalobeyei settlement scheme for school. Her typical day begins at 5 a.m. She has to ensure all her siblings are ready for school and that their breakfast has been prepared. She also has to decide what she will prepare for supper at the end of the day. She juggles all this as she tries to keep up with her schoolwork, but it is still a better life than the one she left behind.
I don't even perform well in class because of overwork at home. I used to go daily late to school. After coming back, I hope to make sure that I have prepared for them this one supper. When they have eaten already, then I prepare for them their bath. After preparing for them, they have to take shower. Then that is when I will sit down and I will rest. Even instead to me to start for my revision or homework, no time, because I'm very tired since morning without resting.
Imoli and her siblings came to Kenya in December 2016 when fighting broke out in South Sudan. Since then, they have not heard from their mother. They do not know whether she is still alive, but Imoli has a bad feeling that she could be among the tens of thousands of fatalities. As the head of her family for over 2 years, Imoli has played the role of caregiver, provider and protector to her sisters and brothers who are aged between 8 and 15. But with the weight of her enormous responsibilities crashing down on her, Imoli tells me she sometimes wishes she was a boy.
The tips are usually there. There's a time they cut our rooms and they enter inside, but they find nothing. That time we have not brought our food.
When her siblings fall sick, it is her responsibility to take them to hospitals within the camp. At school meetings, she assumes the role of the parent. She is also the chief disciplinarian in her family.
When there is something in the school and they were told to call their parents or guardians, they will just tell me and I will go. And I will go and attend that meeting. Whether it is meeting or any problem, I will be the one.
Often, she also has to ward off potential suitors, but she says she will stay in school to make a better life for her and her siblings.
They are abusing me that I'm wasting my time going to school instead of me to get married so that I will get someone who will take care of me and my brothers. But I told them, if I have not heard the voice of my mother, I will not do such kind of thing.
A majority of children like Imoli and her siblings, scarred by war and conflict in their home countries, often assume the heavy responsibilities of parenting their siblings. But even with all the challenges they face, they will still put on a brave face and forge ahead with hope about better days ahead. Sharon Baranga, NTV, in the county of Turkana.
Great story there, and following orders from Sharon. That was a brilliant story.
Sharon.
Teacher Sharon. And she, I think, was wearing a uniform as well. But from yesterday's story by Rozongo, teens with kids, and today the child parents, it's just an unfortunate trend we're sliding into.
It is.
But we're going to take a break.
But when we come back, don't go anywhere. We'll bring you the story of Peter Mbugwa, who has found love yet again.
Welcome back. A few years back, Peter Mbogwa stirred controversy when he married a woman 42 years older than him. Mbogwa's union to the late freedom fighter Wambui Otieno captured the country's imagination.
But 8 years after his wife died, Mbogwa was opening up a new chapter in his love story. Today, he said, "I do," yet again to the love of his life, or rather another love of his life, I presume. Anita Nkonge has more details.
The room was filled with cheer as guests witnessed the union of Peter Mbogwa and Anne Wangari at the Christian Foundation Fellowship Church in Kitengela. Mbogwa's love life has in the past been a subject in newspaper headlines. The story of his blooming romance and later union to former freedom fighter Wambui Otieno, a much older woman, roared across newspaper headlines and radio shows. The two had married in 2003.
I'm very happy I'm married. I've lived alone lonely for 18 years.
Wambui was 67 at the time and Mbogwa was just 25. But the excitement that swept over the newlyweds had been everything but honeymoon bliss. When Wambui passed on in August 2011, she left him in the throes of a bitter dispute over her estate with her relatives. But today, that is all behind him. He is all smiles as he proudly flaunts his new gushing bride. In fact, he likens his feeling to one he had once felt in the past.
Hii hata ni zaidi. Lakini imekuwa tu mzuri kama hiyo ingine. Najihisi tu venye nilisikia hiyo ingine.
And the bride had nothing but great things to say about her new husband.
Nampenda sana, ni mzee mzuri, wani na million.
I guess one could now say love can come round not once, but twice in a lifetime. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
In other news making headlines around the world, Interpol is deploying a team of investigators, including experts in disaster victim identification, to Sri Lanka to help local authorities in the aftermath of deadly suicide bomb blasts that killed nearly 300 people. The Sri Lanka government says an extremist group was behind the attacks.
Interpol is deploying an incident response team at the request of the Sri Lanka authorities, including specialists with expertise in crime scene examination, explosives, and victim identification. More than 500 people were injured in the assault that saw suicide bombers hit 3 high-end hotels popular with foreign tourists and 3 churches, unleashing carnage in Colombo and beyond.
Elsewhere, Sudan's new army rulers have ordered protesters to dismantle the barricades on roads leading to the military headquarters in the capital Khartoum as tensions grew after talks between the two sides broke down. The demonstrators say the ruling military council is not different from veteran leader Omar al-Bashir, who was toppled by the army.
The demands to reopen roads came a day after rally leaders suspended talks with the 10-member council on their main demand to transfer power back to a civilian administration.
And finally, Egyptians have voted for a third and final day on constitutional changes that could keep President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in power until 2030, amid reports of people actively being encouraged to go to the polls.
Sisi, who became president in 2014 and was re-elected in 2018 after eliminating all serious political competitors, is widely expected to win backing for the proposed amendments. The sweeping changes would extend his current term to 2024 and would also give him the right to stand for another 6-year term.
The final results will be announced on April 27th.
Time for another break, but we'll be back before you know it.
spanning more than 10 years, Anthony Mwangi, who started out as a hospital nurse, has grown to become an ICU flight nurse.
Mwangi's is a story of determination and passion to get the best out of every situation, even when the road is hard.
On this week's My Job segment, NTV's Melmendo tells the story of Mwangi.
From a dream to reality, this is the story of 32-year-old Anthony Mwangi, once a hospital nurse, but now an ICU flight nurse. It's been a journey of fulfillment.
It's more of a pinnacle. I feel that I've gotten what I've always wanted, an opportunity to practice at a different and a higher level. Something which I really appreciate a lot.
Anthony's days are characterized by impromptu calls. It's literally about whatever comes his way as regards emergencies.
You can just be in the emergency call center on standby, and then we get a call from any part of this country. Sometimes we need to go for a patient, sometimes to Kisumu. So we have to scramble, get our equipment, set up, and within a short time be able to fly and go pick up the patient.
The field of flight nursing requires one to always be in the know. There's never a dull moment, Anthony says. He's taken it upon himself to always be on top of new trends.
Believe in yourself and to remain calm. Sometimes you might be just having a fairly stable patient, even when you're in the skies, and they just change condition. And you are dealing with a basic life support patient, and now you have to bring in your advanced cardiac life support skills, and it's more or less always works out.
Once the dispatch call is made, Anthony affirms that though many things go through his mind, he's almost always given a brief report on what's happening on ground.
Depending on the information that you're given, you start to create a mental picture of how the patient might be. With that in mind, you start also creating a picture of what the things you will need to do, or the things you can anticipate that the patient might come up with.
It is a career that has not been short of challenges and worst-case scenarios.
Most of the time you're just alone, you and the flight doctor. You don't have many people to go to in case you have a patient's condition changing or demanding things arising.
Anthony is hopeful that his star will continue to rise as he continues to soar the skies.
I'd like to go for a master's in critical care nursing with a specialty in flight nursing. These opportunities are more abroad than in our setup in Kenya. Hopefully I can achieve that. Second is to be more of a consultant.
This in itself is an aircraft that is used for medical evacuation, and it's one of its kind here in the country, the very first in East and Central Africa, the citation sovereign. And so as a country, we are moving forward even in terms of medical equipment in the air. Melmiendo, NTV, Nairobi.
Pretty cool, PTC. When was the last time you were in a jet?
Last month.
Oh, okay.
Last month. Oh, did you say jet? I was on
Yeah.
a A380 Airbus. Well, not the biggest one that they've recently launched. Oh, but I say, yeah.
Our director says, yeah, mekwa kwa nduthi. Well, Ida Waringa coming up with the sports on the other side of this break.
On NTV Sport, my name is Ida Waringa. And Kakamega Homeboys climbed to fourth on the Kenyan Premier League log with a narrow 1-0 win over relegation strugglers Mount Kenya. Alan Wanga continued his hot-scoring form, hitting the only goal of the match. The veteran striker has scored a goal in the last 4 matches for Homeboys, and his strike against Mount Kenya takes his tally for the season to 15. The Western Bay side are now on 41 points, 7 behind leaders Sofapaka. Mount Kenya, on the other hand, are bottom on 15 points from 24 games. Well, league action continues tomorrow with Gor Mahia playing their second game in 3 days, this time against Bandari in Kisumu. While the Kenyan athletics scene has been left reeling following the 4-year ban of Olympic 1500 meters gold medalist Asbel Kiprop by the IAAF for testing positive for the banned substance EPO. The 3-time world champion's ban comes barely 3 months after 2016 Olympic marathon champion Jemima Sungong was banned for 8 years for the same offense. Well, we went out into the streets of Eldoret following the conclusion of the Eldoret City Marathon to get reactions on Kiprop, who was born and bred in the City of Champions.
For the country, it's not very good, but I want to tell the athletes that they should be very careful in what they do, in what they take. We condemn that any athlete that is found, and I've been saying this for many years, that most of them should be banned for life.
Tunasema it's unfair kwake na at least apewe chance, next second chance.
No, hapo na feel sio poa kwa sababu ameshindia this world medalist na kila kitu.
Sikatalii hapo, kama wataalamu wamesema ya kwamba Kiprop amedungiwa nini ya mizuli ama ametumia bangi, hatukatai kwa sababu mimi sio mtaalamu ambao naweza enda lab kupima ya kwamba mkimbiaji yako namna gani. Kuhusu mimi ni mtu wa chini. Kiprop is a billionaire.
Well, quite the interesting opinions there, but let's move on to some international football. And Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has apologized to fans and is looking ahead to Wednesday's league derby against Manchester City. United have now lost 5 straight away games in all competitions for the first time since 1981 and have lost 6 of their last 8 matches, with their hopes for qualification for next year's Champions League fading quick.
Ida is a true sportswoman. Sorry, she raced right across.
That was a sprint. I would probably give Usain Bolt competition right now.
So your mother ran, and now you run.
And now I
There she does. I'm just not gonna say it.
Well, thank you so much for watching. And did you know, guys, today was World Earth Day?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No, not so many
I
people
did
talking
know
about
that.
it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we only care that the rains are now back. That's all we care about.
And I found out by going to check out my Bitmojis.
What is that?
Please look and wait.
Okay. My name is Dennis Okari.
Mine is Olive Burrows.
I'm Ida Waringa.
And our sign language interpreter this evening has been David Agondoa. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.
Good night.